Receipt Legit promotion kutoka KRA. Download Receipt Legit app, scan QR code kwenye receipt yako, ujishindie zawadi kem kila wiki. Kuna grand prize ya milioni 3 kwa washindi watatu, milioni kila mmoja.
It's a game changer with regional impact.
This is the community that was forgotten. For now, we are okay.
Tumefurahi maana ameleta maendeleo kubwa sana.
When you look at this project, it has many components, and that's what makes it unique.
We had schools and markets, including even health centers.
This project will go a long way in opening up the region in northwest Kenya.
It is a model that took transport connectivity to the next level.
We also bring new ideas and innovation to the people who live in this area.
The impact of the Kenya South Sudan Link Road this Sunday at 6:40 p.m. on KBC.
Mamlaka ya ukusanyaji ushuru nchini inakuletea kampeni ya umma ya G-Nice na Receipt Legit. Thibitisha risiti yako ukitumia app ya Receipt Legit, upate nafasi ya kuibuka mshindi wa zawadi kemkem kama vile shilingi milioni 1 pesa taslim, laptops, televisheni ya inchi 50, smartphones na zawadi zingine. Jumamosi tarehe 14, msafara wetu utaingia GPO, Bondeni, Coast General, Nyali Bridge, Mtwapa, Kilifi Market, Gede, Malindi Town na Malindi Stadium. Pata app ya Receipt Legit kwa Google Play Store au App Store kwa maelezo ya kuingia katika mashindano ya Receipt Legit. G-Nice na Receipt Legit. KRA, tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Ananiambia mama, nikiweka kitu hivi kwa mdomo inafura inakaa hivi. Mimi naona hii kitu inaendelea kusiba koo. Sasa mimi namuuliza, sasa tufanye nini? Nitakufanya nini? Sina pesa, hatuna namna, wacha tugoje Mungu. Tumepeleka hospitali, akasema hawezi fanya upasuaji kama bado hatujanunua hiyo chuma. Tumekuwa tukijaribu kama familia kumsaidia, lakini sasa tumegangana, ni kama tumefika mwisho.
Kenya Coast National Polytechnic is one of the leading TVET institutions in Kenya. Our hands-on training has ensured that our graduates acquire the necessary skills and competencies as required by the industry, leading to their absorption in the job market. We are inviting applications for various diploma, certificate and artisan courses for our January 2025 intake. We offer courses in maritime studies, engineering, health sciences, business and media studies, hospitality and tourism, ICT, driving courses and recognition of prior learning programs among other courses. We accept KUCCPS and SSP students and also accept transfer students. For more information, call the number on the screen or visit our website. Kenya Coast National Polytechnic, a regional flagship maritime transport and logistics center.
Good evening and welcome to Easy Friday, your trusted source for the week's top stories, insightful business updates and thrilling sports highlights. I'm Caren Kibbett, coming to you solo tonight as I hold fort for my co-anchor John Kago, who is a little bit under the weather. Get well soon, Kago. Now, here is what is making headlines this Friday. Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga stepped onto the global stage today, facing off against Djibouti's Foreign Minister Mahmoud and Madagascar's former Foreign Minister Richard James. How do you think Raila fared on in this high-stake contest? Could this be Kenya's moment to lead? And with a deputy chairperson role guaranteed for a woman, is there a turning point for gender representation in leadership on the continent? Now stay with us. We've got all this and more, including the latest in business and sports. But first, here are the highlights.
We have seen what commercialization of these lands can do. There is every reason why we must work with the private sector to commercialize the pieces of land that we have.
Commercializing idle government land. Kenya prisons land to be leased out. Man hacks wife to death and assaults their 5-year-old son in Kakamega.
And the church to stand with the people. Kenyans are hungry for truth.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka urges the church to remain steadfast in holding the government accountable. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Brian Muraru. Easy Friday starts now. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has cited his role in Africa's liberation and unity as his strength in the race for the Africa Union Commission chairmanship. Speaking at the AUC debate in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Raila also said his experience as Africa's Union High Representative for Infrastructure gave him the insights on what needs to be done in Africa's vision for a one-union government by 2030 and attain the vision of Africa's founding fathers. Raila is facing off with Djibouti, Mahmoud Ali and Richard James of Madagascar.
I stand here as an Africanist and an Afro-optimist. I say that I have the experience. I've been part of this movement for changing the continent. We know that some achievements have been made. Africa is now completely liberated, but there's still work to do. And I believe that I have what it takes to get us where we want to do. In the field of education, in the field of health, in the field of value addition to the abundant wealth that we have on the continent, in the field of trade, inter-African trade. I have acted as the African Union High Representative on Infrastructure. And in this I know that we have very comprehensive programs in PIDA, Program for Infrastructure Development of the continent. What remains is action. And what I want to promise the African people is that I am going to lead from the front to ensure that we achieve the visions of the founding fathers of our continent.
Moving on, President William Ruto says the government will lease out unutilized lands belonging to Kenya prisons. Speaking during the launch of a strategic plan for the State Department for Correctional Services and National Police Service, the president said his administration will work with the private sector in commercializing idle government land. He at the same time said the government will spend at least 28 billion shillings on modernization of police equipment in the next 2 years.
President William Ruto graced the launch of 2023-2027 strategic plans for the National Police Service and the State Department of Correctional Services at Kenya School of Government. The president spelled out his plan to support the National Police Service by implementing all the recommendations of the David Maraga's Task Force report on police reforms.
I'm very happy that we have implemented phase 1 of the recommendations that was made by Maraga. And I want to commit that all the other phases are equally going to be implemented. I understand very well that our men in uniform security agencies operate in very difficult circumstances. Sometimes we don't appreciate enough the kind of challenges they face. and the kind of support that they need.
The president says the government will start leasing out lands belonging to the Kenya prisons to private developers for commercial purposes.
We have so much land in the hands of government. We have seen what commercialization of these lands can do. There is every reason why we must work with the private sector to commercialize the pieces of land that we have, produce food, produce other products.
The head of state further disclosed the government's plan to spend 28 billion shillings in modernizing the police equipment. For the last 2 years, 9 billion shillings has been spent on modernization program, an investment the president says is impactful to the development of the country.
I want to commit that process of modernization, I intend to see it to completion in the next 2 years.
The government is also set to procure 1,000 police vehicles next year.
I want to commend the leadership of the police and all the policemen and women for what they are doing in matters protecting citizens, their property, and their lives. I must commend them.
Gishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
Now, a 30-year-old woman from Lurambi in Kakamega County has been hacked to death by her husband. The suspect, Meshak Muhobi, 40, also assaulted their 5-year-old son, leaving him with head injuries before fleeing.
Mtoto akakuja kwa nyumba yangu asubuhi, akaniita akaniambia, Mama Michelle, kuja uone kitu imefanyika kwetu kikubwa sana. Nikamwambia, kitu gani anje? Kwani uliamka kwa nyumba mahali penye ulikuwa umelala? Jua alikuwa amelala kwa nyumba yangu. Na nikakuja na yeye akanishika mkono akajaribu kunivuruta, nikasema mimi nimeogopa, siwezi enda kwa nyumba yenu, baba yenu atanipata, atanimalizia huko. Na akanivuruta akainsist, na nilikuwa na taa. Na nikaenda nikambulika, ndio nikapata huyo mama amekufa.
Kwa hivyo ametusumbua kwa muda. Kasi yake ni pangi na pombe. Hata huwa anapatia watoto pangi, anakuja nayo kwa shule. Tena mimi ni chairman wa shule. Tumeshika huyu kijana tukipeleka police station, anawachiliwa anakuja.
Very sad. The body of the deceased has been taken to Kakamega Hospital morgue as police continue hunting for the suspect. Kalonzo Musyoka and his allies have told the church to remain steadfast and continue calling the government to fulfill its promises to Kenyans. Kalonzo also vowed that the opposition will continue to hold the government to account. This comes a day after the president told off government critics for lacking facts on various government programs, including cattle vaccination.
Self-declared opposition leader Kalonzo Musyoka on Friday challenged the government to put facts on the table regarding various programs that have raised eyebrows among Kenyans.
We do not necessarily argue, but we want the facts on the table. Mheshimiwa Rais alisema anataka watu wanaangalia facts. Na hizo ndizo nataka facts.
The Wiper leader saying the intended cattle vaccination is among programs shrouded in mystery.
Tunataka tujue, what are we vaccinating these animals against? Iwe tu wanahusika mawaziri na timu yote ya livestock, ieleze wananchi, when you vaccinate, is it against ECF kwa mfano? Is it against Ridapex? Watu wanataka kujua, because hao ng'ombe wamekuwa wanakuwa vaccinated.
Sisi kama viongozi wa upinzani, we are also going to broaden our opposition and to sharpen our opposition and criticism to this government.
Kalonzo's jib at the state comes after President William Ruto took a swipe at critics during the Jamhuri Day celebrations for opposing the government projects without facts. The opposition leaders also urged the church not to be swayed, but instead remain a voice of many suffering Kenyans.
Kama wengine wote wakisalimu amri, mimi na wenzangu hatutaenda route hiyo. So we have to stand and say no. and the church to stand with the people. Kenyans are hungry for truth.
Hili jambo la IBC tunachezea ni jambo ambalo linaweza kuletea sisi shida kubwa. And every one of you, mimi naomba tukiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, mwakani we need to take a date. Na tuweke maandamano imeongozwa na kanisa. We are walking into a terrible trap.
The president had on Wednesday hosted evangelical and Pentecostal religious leaders at State House after a tiff with Catholic and Anglican churches over church donations. Giverson Minor, Easy Friday.
The government is in the process of restructuring the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to enhance its delivery on its mandate in fulfillment of its obligations to its employees, the government and Kenyans at large. Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Dr. Margaret Ndungu revealed this while responding to the issues raised by media stakeholders during a roundtable with media leaders at a Nairobi hotel. Other issues raised included the settlement of debts owed by the government to media houses.
For inter-users' input and support into that.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Dr. Margaret Ndungu hosted a media leaders roundtable to discuss issues affecting the media industry and its role in shaping public discourse.
Is the biggest broadcast association created when the country was migrating.
The issues raised were, among others, the facilitation of a Media Council Board and the Media Complaints Commission to address issues of the media fraternity, review of several laws hindering the operations of the media, including taxation and roles of regulators and other state actors in the operations of the media.
Three is also to undertake reforms in issuing of radio and television frequencies and licenses. Creation of a dedicated department within the ministry to deal with media matters.
On matters the state broadcaster, the union stressed the need for its strengthening to conform to the latest trends in the industry and improving staff welfare to motivate them, to which the Cabinet Secretary announced progress on a memo on KBC's restructuring.
The pension scheme is in arrears to the tune of 3 billion. So at the moment, the KBC is paying people who retired in April 2021. KBC struggles to pay salaries, and we know KBC is a very, very important institution in Kenya, and therefore it requires more money from the government, from the treasury.
We take note of the salary payment. We take note of the fact that most of their services are not as they should be, and again we will work together to ensure that we address those issues.
While appreciating the role of the Fourth Estate in holding the government accountable, journalists were also asked to be factual in their reportage.
If the price of unga was 270 2 years ago and it is now below 130, you also need to say that is correct.
Other issues raised were the safety of journalists and prosecution of those found harming the media fraternity while on duty, as well as seeking cabinet approval to host the 2026 African Media Convention.
We have a generation that we must protect. What young people see us doing is what they will continue doing. So we have to set a good example. And again, this is an area we can work together.
Isufar reporting for Easy Friday.
Now, the government is urging the media to practice cyber hygiene to ensure it feeds the general public with the right content as the National Fiber Optic Cable Connection project continues across the country to provide high, reliable internet connectivity speed. Speaking during a site visit of the implementation of the project in various public institutions in Nairobi County, ICT and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Dr. Margaret Ndungu said 1,600 out of 74,000 public institutions have been connected across the country. Tilio Marco with more details.
A team from the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy led by the Cabinet Secretary Dr. Margaret Ndungu visited various public institutions in Nairobi County, including Jamhuri High School, Westlands KPLC substation and Pangani Police Station to inspect the implementation of the ICT program. The CS said the first phase of the project targets to connect 5,000 public institutions, adding that the government is also connecting public Wi-Fi in various locations to ensure the public gets access to reliable internet connectivity.
We have even said we'll have a public Wi-Fi again around here, so that as wananchi come to address their issues, then they can be also able to connect. They don't have to move around looking for other connection. Because again, we are saying every person, whether you are having your business outside the shop, either you are selling your bananas outside here, you should be able to get connected as a basic right and ensure that we are all moving together.
Meanwhile, police in Limuru, Kiambu County are holding 2 suspects in connection with the fiber optic cable vandalism along James Gishuru Rironi Highway towards Naivasha. Limuru Sub-County Deputy County Commissioner Charles Mukere said the 2 are suspected to have vandalized 15 kilometers of the cable.
Tunataka tujue wanazipeleka wapi. Baadhi ya hizi nyaya ambazo zinaibiwa hazipatikani nchini humu walivyotuelezea. Kwa hivyo lazima kuwe na watu fulani ambao wanaleta na gari wanafanya kazi hiyo na kuwabeba na kuwapeleka.
Tilio Marco for Easy Friday.
Thank you very much, Tilio. And Tilio's report leads us to our first short break right here on Easy Friday. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Christmas ni sahi ishafika na ni kubwa kubwa. Kweli? Hii Kristi ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570 hash option 1. Rudia. Star 570 hash option 1. Iko PlayStation 5 na 55 TV na iko 500,000 Kenyan shillings.
Mbuzi moja?
Na mbuzi. 1 million Kenyan shillings na Samsung S24 Ultra.
Na mbuzi moja?
Iko 2 million Kenyan shillings na iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Na mbuzi mbili.
Blue Santa amekuja na zawadi kibao. Na ni kubwa kubwa. Hapa kuna ndogo ndogo. Hapa Christmas ni bomba. Hapo.
Wewe bro, nipatie hiyo receipt ya items. Wazi.
Cheki mimi sina ado hizo
Excuse, nilete receipt yangu ya items. Asante.
Ni pesa ngapi? 3,000.
Hebu nisaidie na ile receipt ya items.
Nimeshinda mili. I'm the latest millionaire. Marry me, baby.
Yes! Guys, nimeshinda laptop. Nimeshinda TV 50 inches.
Nice na Receipt Legit promotion kutoka KRA. Download Receipt Legit app, scan QR code kwenye receipt yako, ujishindie zawadi kem kila wiki. Kuna grand prize ya milioni 3 kwa washindi 3 milioni kila mmoja.
High School Mission and Ministry has become one of the most effective when it comes to evangelism and salvation. But the dynamics are shifting.
Music is becoming an entry or a point of entry into some of the beliefs, changing the way they believe and the way they do things.
We are dealing with a very smart generation, very exposed.
Very.
The ordinary evangelism may not work.
If we can have parents take up their responsibility in teaching the word of God. For those of us, some of the challenges we are having are children of believers.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. For those joining us right now, this is Easy Friday. Let's proceed. Dozens of Kenyans who were stuck in Lebanon have returned home. Two of the returnees who spoke to KBC say they are glad to be reunited with their family after a harrowing experience in the war-ravaged country.
It was an emotional moment for Sheila and Purity Nelima when they met their family 2 years after flying out to Lebanon. The two are among Kenyans who had been working in Lebanon when Israel launched an offensive against Hezbollah. Purity says this is not what she bargained for 2 years ago.
Hawakuniambia kama naenda kufanya kazi za watoto maybe. Yeah, so when nilifika huko kazi ikabadilika, nikaambiwa ndakuwa nachunga watoto na nifanye kazi ya nyumba. Saa 6 usiku unaamka 6 na unaamkia yani kazi. So I have to do that because I wanted my family, yani sitaki familia yangu like ikwe in bad situation because unajua kuna watu wanatucheka maybe, but I have to do that because of them.
They say after the eruption of the war in October, all hope was lost.
Nilipatanga mimi nilikuwa Neme, Beirut. Mimi haikunipatanga sana, nilikuwa tunasikia voice but nilikuwa naona moshi. Ya mimi nilikuwa nadhani tunakufia huko. Nilikuwa tunataka nione tu nimerudi Kenya.
Nikaambia madamu wangu, so unilipia nini ticket niende nyumbani hata nikaone familia yangu ili nifanye nini nikuje niendelee na kazi. So alinilipia ticket, sasa ilifaa nisafiri mwezi wa 9. So hiyo time vita ikakuwa mbaya sana, so hata ndege zikakuwa expensive na nini kampuni moja ndiyo ilikuwa inafanya. So akasema tiketi yako venye ilikanzoliwa, so ungoje mpaka venye itafunguliwa ndio uende juu siwezi lipa tiketi mara mbili.
Purity and Sheila are doubtful whether they will go back to Lebanon after the harrowing experience. This is their appeal to the government and fellow Kenyans who wish to travel to Lebanon.
Huko serikali ifanye tu kitu akuje juu vita inaweza rudi anytime, na huko mabosi wa huko vita zikikuja siku hizi wanatuacha kwa manyumba na wanatoroka. Sasa tunaachwa huko na hawatupei passports, wanatuacha hapo tu hivyo. Yeah. Wanaachana watu hapo, mtu ajipanga unaachwa kwa street, na life in the street is not good.
Nimefurahia sana sister yangu kurudi. Tulikuwa tunaongea kwa simu, naona tu ni kama tuko na yeye lakini alikuwa mbali. Mimi nashukuru tu Mungu, maombi yenyewe tulikuwa tunaomba imetimia.
Kasi cha Namasha, Easy Friday.
Beautiful. Welcome back home. Moving on, learning institutions across the country have been challenged to embrace STEM-related subjects to equip learners with critical thinking and problem-solving skills essential for global industrial competitiveness. The clarion call was made by education stakeholders during the Kenya Mathematical Olympiad competitions at the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa in Nairobi.
Friday morning at the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa, Nairobi, education stakeholders converged to oversee the Kenya Mathematical Olympiad competition's finalists in action. The competition had attracted over 8,000 participants nationwide, culminating in the selection of 26 top-performing students for the intensive residential training program.
This contest prepare these young learners to be able to springboard into careers in mathematics and STEM-related fields. And we are hoping that this group of students that we have here, out of the 26, 6 will participate, and hopefully they'll be able to get themselves a scholarship to the prestigious universities around the world.
Here, the stakeholders challenged school heads in the country to increase investment in science, technology, engineering and mathematics programs in schools to enhance critical thinking among learners.
What we aim to achieve is, of course, unlocking the potential of mathematics students in this country and trying to develop a very strong mathematics culture in our schools.
Being a support system even for the teachers. Sometimes the teacher may explain a concept, the students are not getting it well. And those students who are gifted in math, because Maths Olympiad is really about students who are gifted in math, they can be the backup of helping the other students to deal with their challenges in math.
Students who participated in the competition hailed the program as an eye-opening experience that has boosted their confidence and problem-solving skills.
We gained a lot more skills and how to tackle with
contest questions for the International Mathematical Olympiad, and I hope to participate in next year's IMO in Australia.
These Olympiads, I can't say that they're just walk in the park. Yeah, someone has really to prepare enough and sharpen his or her brain. And they're really like, I can say brain sharpener, and they kind of tease your brain.
The week-long training program will prepare students for international competitions, with the best 6 participants representing Kenya at the International Mathematical Olympiad in Australia in July 2025, 6 at the Pan-African Mathematical Olympiad in August 2025, and the remaining 12 at the East African Mathematical Olympiad in April 2025.
The High Court has issued orders to freeze the bank accounts of an Egyptian national, Wasim Hamed, following allegations of fraud involving 135 million Kenya shillings. The case involves international investors who accuse ASAL of failing to deliver on a luxury real estate project through the AAD Real Estate, a company operating in Lavington, Nairobi.
The court granted freezing orders after investors, represented by lawyer Danstan Omari, moved to recover over $500 million. The case will be mentioned in January 2025.
We were instructed to write to the EACC. We have also been instructed to do a complaint to the DCI. My client has already put up a claim, a complaint at the DCI to investigate the question of tax evasion that this company the company is called Grand Premier Apartments and Real Estate, and the individual involved is Wasim Ahmed Elsi, which we have provided in a press statement. We believe that once this matter is taken up by KRA, is taken up by all the investigative agencies, then Kenya will have enough money to treat it.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association has condemned online attacks against judges and magistrates allegedly by the Law Society of Kenya. The association called the attacks unconstitutional and warned that they undermine judicial independence and public trust. The association reaffirmed support for Chief Justice Martha Koome and urged formal channels for grievances.
The association has keenly analyzed these online attacks. Their systematic nature, execution, and sustained onslaught demonstrates an unorthodox and unconstitutional attempt to cajole the judiciary, its leadership, judges, and magistrates towards a self-serving agenda. We urge the leadership of the judiciary, under the stewardship of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, her ladyship, Justice Martha Koome, to remain steadfast and protect the independence of the judiciary.
Finally, Principal Magistrate Gilbert Shikwe has allowed the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to remand 5 suspects for 5 days over kidnapping and assault allegations. The suspects are being investigated for the abduction of a juvenile reported missing on 7th December and found on 11 December 2024. The DCI plans to publish the suspects' images to encourage other victims to come forward. The suspects will be held at Kilimani Police Station as investigations continues.
To try and conclude the investigations. So the matter will be mentioned before the duty court or the twin court on the 19th of December for the discharge of these orders.
It's Deborah for Easy Friday.
Moving on, Kenyans have been urged to be keen on discovering talented youths to help them thrive in a dynamic economy. Speaking at Nova Pioneer International School in Tatu City, the director Ashoka Africa Change Makers Foundation, Vincent Odhiambo, said youths have proved to have exceptional talents that have made a big difference. He added that if their talents are discovered early enough in their lives, great progress can be achieved in economic development.
And today is about celebration, it's about sharing, it's about them also getting to see the adult allies that are here to support them in their journey as change makers. For us to get to a world where solutions outmatch challenges, then we need to get everyone and indeed even children must be considered in that everyone a change maker.
If you want to be able to effect change in this country and across Africa, we have to start with children. Okay, we have to give them the skills that they need, which is above education, classroom education, is giving the critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, logic, okay, teamwork and team building.
The Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has threatened to withdraw their health services countrywide beginning this Monday, 16th of this month, to demand the disbandment of the Social Health Authority Board. The union is accusing the board of graft and extortion targeting their members. This and other stories making headlines in our county's roundup.
According to Kenya Union of Clinical Officers National Chairperson Peterson Wachira, the current crisis that had rocked the health sector was due to a graft cartel in the Social Health Authority Board, leading to challenges in rolling out of the Social Health Insurance Fund.
In the spirit of ensuring that the Social Health Authority does its work, we need those people who are sitting there. We need those people who have formed a cartel and bringing back the bad practices from the National Health Insurance Fund to be sent home.
In Machakos County, a family from Itaboni Ward is crying out for justice for their kin who was tortured and later died after being kidnapped in the early morning on his way to work.
Tulipigiwa simu siku iliyofuata tarehe 17 mwezi wa 10 yuko Machakos level 5 na tukaenda huko tukakuta yenyewe ameumizwa kichwa na tukaambiwa huyu mgonjwa anahitaji services za ASAL.
Kwa sababu kwa sasa hatuna mbele wala nyuma, tumefika tu mwisho, hatuna otherwise, tumejaribu venye tunaweza, tumeshindwa. Na kufikia hapo hata hatujui venye tutafanya.
Elsewhere, traders at Mogonga Open Air Market along Bobasi Bomachoge constituencies have threatened to boycott paying taxes to the county government over the poor state of the markets.
Katika hii soko ya Mugunga tuko na sita kubwa sana. Sita ya kwanza, soko yote ilisemekana itajengwa, lakini kama na mwenyewe alisema kwamba uonga sasa alijiweka listi iko ya 3 kwa kuchengwa.
Still on infrastructure, residents of Igembe South constituency in Meru County have decried the poor state of Kimongoro Kanuni Road, calling on the area member of parliament John Paul Murigi to intervene.
Hata ukiwa umebeba wateja, hata huwezi kuwabeba vizuri. Unabeba wateja wanaenda wakiwa wanaanguka, pikipiki zinagongana, hata kwa barabara hata huwezi kutembea vizuri.
Meanwhile, a family in Mwingi Kitui County is pleading for justice after their kin was allegedly beaten to death by the area sub-chief.
Huyu sub-chief alikuwa anatembelea ndugu yetu, anakuja hata anamuomba vitu ya shamba anampatia, hawakuwa na shida yote. Na ndugu yetu anjaichukua kitu ya mtu. Lakini alikuja akamchukua usiku, akaambia mke wake kuna mahali anataka ampeleke. Lakini kumbe alikuwa amemuundia vijana wakaenda kumchapa na wakamuumiza.
And in Homa Bay County, human rights stakeholders have expressed concerns about the inadequate functional safe spaces in the county that has undermined the fight against sexual and gender-based violence.
So it is a great challenge that we as people who are actors in Homa Bay County will face. When we have issues that are touching on women and children, we do not have adequate space where we can take them and they feel safe in those spaces.
Martini Maslin for Easy Friday.
And we'll now take a second short break right here on Easy Friday. When we come back, we'll take a look at all the women breaking barriers in Ikolomani in the gold mining industry. Don't go too far. I'll be back.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Your boom experience pia iko.
mamlaka ya ukusanyaji ushuru nchini inakuletea kampeni ya umma ya G-Nice na Receipt Legit. Thibitisha risiti yako ukitumia app ya Receipt Legit, upate nafasi ya kuibuka mshindi wa zawadi kemkem kama vile shilingi milioni 1 pesa taslim, laptops, televisheni ya inchi 50, smartphones na zawadi zingine. Jumamosi tarehe 14, msafara wetu utaingia GPO, Bondeni, Coast General, Nyali Bridge, Mtwapa, Kilifi Market, Gede, Malindi Town na Malindi Stadium. Pata app ya Receipt Legit kwa Google Play Store au App Store kwa maelezo ya kuingia katika mashindano ya Receipt Legit. G-Nice na Receipt Legit. KRA, tulipe ushuru tujitegemee.
Kidnap your poor Alice has got nothing to do with G&J.
You think Blackie sat down and planned all this?
Have you ever been betrayed by a friend? I'm just confused. I don't know who's on my side anymore.
I saw your ex in the office. I think she was waiting for her current boyfriend.
You like Alice?
I can do better.
I need to get somewhere right away.
Nick. You need to handle this with a lot of wisdom.
You're smart, Ronnie. Cheers to your brain.
Mom, dear Lord, I'm a sinner. So you're still a Christian?
My dad has always told me the church is full of hypocrites. Do you agree?
Good to see you.
Na kwa nini inaendelea?
Siwezi ambia watu ni nini na mimi mwenyewe sijajua.
Okay.
Weka ukijua Alex asipopona in the next 24 hours naenda polisi. Sawa?
Uko na evidence?
Quit, relax. I need you more than you need me. I'm coming.
Ni sawa.
Tulete vitu kutoka China. Tukiziuza tutahomoka. Oh, mkiwa na nani? Si mimi na wewe.
The once perfect couple.
That's the thing. You're trying to make me divert from what I wanted to ask you.
Sasa tumeanza mpaka kusengenywa. We have become the topic of discussion.
Hey, Mom, come on.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. Let's proceed. Now, gold mining is a cornerstone of the economy in Kakamega County, but in Ikolomani and Shinyalu constituency, cultural beliefs have long excluded women from fully participating in this lucrative industry. These superstitions, which claim that women's presence in the mine shafts causes gold to disappear, have perpetuated gender discrimination for the generations. Today, however, women are increasingly breaking these barriers and challenging deep-seated norms, fighting for equality in the male-dominated world of gold mining. Our reporter, Jackie Wambiru, explains.
In Ikolomani, gold mining has always been more than just a means of livelihood. It's a cultural identity. Yet for women miners, this identity has often come with discrimination and exclusion. At the heart of this struggle is a long-standing superstition. Women are barred from approaching gold mine shafts, especially during menstruation, for fear of driving the gold away. This belief has not only marginalized women but also limited their access to equal opportunities in the industry. At the Bushangala mining site, Josephine Liabule and her peers have taken a bold stand against these outdated practices. Together, they have formed a cooperative to empower women miners, addressing the twin challenges of gender-based violence and economic exploitation.
Kama unaingia kwa shimo na wanawake ndio wanakuja wanagonga wanaosha, kwa nini dhahabu isipotelee wakati wanaosha? So inafaa muelewe ya kwamba kuna uchoyo katikati ya kusema wakati wa mama wako hapa dhahabu itapotea, kwa sababu ingekuwa inapotea inafaa ipotee wakati hata wanaosha.
This exclusion comes with a heavy price. Women are forced to buy uninspected stones from male miners, often at inflated prices. The result? Financial losses and in some cases sexual exploitation.
Mama ameamua hata kuenda kununua mawe, lakini kuna ile uoga, haezi songea karibu jinsi tuko hapa. Na tunaona kama hapa side tumefence. Mama anaitwa kwa gate, leta gunia, kama ndio anasaidiana kwa upishi, wanaita jina kulingana na list venye wamefuatana, na mama anapea soja ndiye anachukua gunia, wanamwekea mawe yenye aoni na analetewa na anarudi huko.
By banding together, women in the cooperative now have a platform to advocate for their rights, receiving training and share resources. Through the Migodi ASAL project, run by Rising to Greatness, women have gained critical skills and a better understanding of their rights. Even in this male-dominated space, allies like Watson Liponi are emerging. Watson, a miner who has seen the impact of discrimination firsthand, now champions equality, emphasizing that women are equally capable of handling mining operations.
Unaweza pata this site, it is fully accepted as a woman cooperative or a woman site. But utoka hapo uende to the other side. Bro atakwambia una advocate nini kwa wanawake, at the end of the day mwanamke hizi ingia kwa shimo.
Yet challenges remain. Men still dominate leadership roles and women are often excluded from critical decision-making processes.
Yes, kuna mambio huko ndani hatukatai, but at least you're trying to equip women slowly by slowly because it's a learning process. At the end of the day, they need to learn. And equipping them with the enough knowledge ya kufanya kazi pale ndani ndio itakuwa the basic foundation of all this activity.
Efforts to challenge these norms are gaining momentum. Halima Nyota, an advocate with Rising to Greatness, believes that education and male allies are pivotal to dismantling harmful beliefs.
According to the culture, they believe that by the virtue of women getting close to the site, the gold is going to disappear, women being barred from taking up leadership within the sites, but also the aspect of not being denied the knowledge on the specific price of the gold commodity, and this is diplomatically and structurally designed to exploit women economically, because by the virtue of women not going close to the site, they will not be able to know the exact ore that has been extracted, and then of course they're going to be deprived at the end of the day. By the women not knowing the exact price within the sector, it means somebody is going to undervalue their commodity that they have extracted.
For the women of the Kolomani, this fight transcends mining. It's about rewriting cultural narratives that have held them back for generations.
As an organization, what we have done is working closely with men who own sites and landlords in these spaces to be able to change the narrative.
By claiming their place in the mines, they are also reclaiming their voices, dignity, and a rightful share of the community's wealth. Their determination serves as a beacon of hope for Ikolomani and other countless women striving to overcome similar barriers. Jackie Wambiru, My Culture.
Thank you, Jackie, for that beautiful report. On to another amazing report, the savage netizens. Once again, it is that time of the year where the keyboard warriors get to indulge in all types of December content. As the year comes to an end, the holiday seems to always bring with it hilarious content for the savage netizens to relish.
The joys of entering December and the drama that comes with it is certainly amazing. Let's take a look. December.
Hello, December!
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
But is that a fact for many? Take this baddie arriving stylishly in the village on a chariot, or should I say on the beast of burden carriage.
Una-expect huku ushago tutafute wapi Uber?
Zakaria, kwani anaingia Jerusalem. Jeff ametumiwa njoro wa punda.
Na ikizidi, we piga nduru.
Benix asked, kwani Nairobi Shores wamefika? Gyogi Road, tumeingia ule mwezi ukitumwa dukani kununua mkate unarudi umelewa.
When you catch me like a rat on the highway, I've been driving for over 20 years, then you come and you talk very big nonsense to me. It's actually, there's no make eye up. Stop wasting your time, stop wasting a good time, because that is where you go wrong.
But what are the live scenes from Motherland? Jasia ya Ext ndio kufika Ocha. Kazi ni kupumzika na kukula free. Osama lamenting, net huku Ocha inasumbua. Ari retorted, umejaribu kupanda juu ya mti. Ole Sankei, summing up the matter, wrote, Wi-Fi utaonea kwa view sasa.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Charlie seemingly mad, Ushago hata shush hajui wewe ni celeb, anakutuma tu kisiagi. Nairobi responded, huku Ushago hawatambui celeb.
Mimi siendi mahali. Nyumbani huko mashamba huko ni kwa watu huko ni kwa wazee walime. Si tuko town tunafanya music.
Vienna making an observation, ukienda Ushago lazima uulizwe kama kuna nyesha kwenye umetoka.
Tuko na evidence iko hapa hata kwa hii karatasi.
Charles on the same note, Ushago hata ukisema sikunywi chai ya sukari, unasikia wakiwhisper jikoni ati nilikwambia sukari na bangi haiwezi patana.
Kuna wengine akiamuka asubuhi pombe, akiamuka asubuhi bangi.
Alex, kuku zikiona watu wa Nairobi wamefika. Poor chicken.
Mimi nimefurahia, tumelala tukiota tu bosi. Na ameingia ni mtoto wetu, ni kijana wetu wa nguvu.
How about we also get into the December mood?
Welcome back. In time for business news, I'm holding fort for my colleague Wairimu Njenga. The Kenya Union Savings and Credit Cooperatives should either be liquidated or restructured. This is a recommendation by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which was contracted to undertake a forensic audit into the activities of Cusco after allegations of financial impropriety. Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya says any former board member of Cusco found culpable should be banned for life from holding any leadership position in any SACCO in Kenya.
I also want to direct the commission here, because those people who are members of Cusco board as members of the climate circles. They went back and they're there. I want them dismissed immediately.
Typically when an entity is facing this kind of a shortfall in terms of its assets and liabilities, one would be talking of an insolvency or a liquidation. But what has come out very clearly is that there is a desire to explore other options of restructuring Cusco as opposed to immediately going into a liquidation.
500,000 acres of land held by government agencies is up for leasing to the private sector for food production as Kenya seeks to enhance food security. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Andrew Karanja says leasing will range from 5 to 35 years. Karanja says farmers are projected to harvest 75.9 million to 50 kg bags of maize, up 60% from the 47.6 million bags harvested in 2023.
Projections from the Ministry of Agriculture points out that farmers will harvest 75.9 million 50 kg bags of maize from the current crop, up from 47.6 million 50 kg bags of maize harvested in 2023. The 60% increase in production is attributed to, among others, good rains and reduced cost of the subsidized fertilizer.
We are happy that the weather has been very, very favorable, and also we have been able to make sure that the interventions like subsidy fertilizers have been there.
Karanja says plans are underway to avail 500,000 acres of land held by the government agencies that is lying idle to support food production to meet local demand as well as for exports.
The private sector has been invited through the media, advertisement, open tender, open call, and then they come in and then they are given the terms and conditions for that lease. And then if there is an agreement, they are given the lease for whatever period they agreed upon, but it's between 10 and 35 years.
To reduce hiccups experienced in the past over subsidized fertilizer distribution, he says cooperatives and agrovests in the proximity of farmers are being onboarded for the last mile distribution of the farm inputs.
We are going also to make sure that the farmers can get the inputs, the fertilizers, close to their places, close to their farms.
He says 5 million bags of subsidized fertilizer has already been procured for distribution ahead of the long rains planting season.
Mid-January this next year, all our fertilizers, about 5 million bags, will be in our stores across the country.
Benson Rioba reporting for Easy Friday.
Fashion designers should strive to preserve culture while embracing sustainable practices in a bid to blend artistry with sustainability. Shift 80 founder Migi Sakata says there is need to offer young designers the much needed exposure and opportunities for growth in the competitive world of fashion.
The Shift 80 Design Prize Awards ceremony celebrated the vibrancy of Kenyan innovation and sustainable fashion. The event highlighted the creative prowess of 6 finalists whose designs were motivated by turning discarded materials into extraordinary fashion statements. Designs by the 6 finalists used upcycled materials to narrate stories of identity and community.
The impact that fashion has on the world, I'm sure you know of like fast fashion and how fast fashion has contributed to a lot of waste in the world and a lot of not so good things to do with the environment. So I champion sustainability because it gives us another option, another way of making clothes.
Believe in yourself, because I never believed in myself. So me winning all these actually creates a very huge impact in my life. So anything, the small details from anything, just create it. You may never know, tomorrow might be a time.
The grand prize was awarded to Brilliant Lutomia for her striking design inspired by the Kibbett community.
But I want to be able to offer employment to other people. Like if I have a big brand, I can also hire people to come and sew from the NGO that helped me. I just hope that someday I'll be able to create employment for people and also have my NGO someday, most especially for autistic kids in the ghetto, because that is the help that is not, I've not seen that kind of organization for specifically autistic.
Many people have an interest about sustainable and environment. It's very important. So that's why I decided this theme is sustainable.
Sakata says to create real impact, sustainable fashion should touch hearts and inspire action. Frederick Mwoki for Easy Friday.
The Regional Development Ministry is employing innovation and prudent use of its budget to ensure inclusive development, especially in arid and semi-arid areas. EAC and Regional Development Cabinet Secretary Beatrice Asukul Mo says her ministry is forging closer ties with the private sector and players to ensure additional resources to fund activities in marginalized areas.
Despite several interventions by both government and non-state actors, poverty levels remain high in arid and semi-arid areas. To address these, ESC, ASAL and Regional Development Ministry is embracing more collaborations, especially with non-state actors, to pool more resources for addressing the needs of those living in marginalized areas.
The State Department should continue collaborating with the stakeholders and remain dedicated to meeting the targets while exploring additional ways to ensure resources for effective service delivery to the public.
She says innovative ways are being employed to ensure rapid response to those affected by natural calamities such as drought and flood.
Taking affirmative action for the ASAL counties, who in most cases are affected by acts of God like drought and floods, and provision of rapid response through the National Drought Management Authority and special programs. All these require significant budget outlay.
The Cabinet Secretary says her ministry is putting in place measures that will empower Kenyans to deepen the trading of goods and services in the East African Community region.
In the name of Jesus Christ, Mungu anatarajia ukanyange hatua mbele. Wengine wametawaliwa na uchawi, wakati wao umefika. Wewe umenitazama siku ya leo. Neema na kibali cha Bwana kikawe juu ya maisha yako.
Some pickup lines are just so Asian. Some are prehistoric pickup lines.
Kenyan, let's discuss the pay later. For now, you need to make sure that the compound is spotlessly clean. So, vamos.
Very simple, eh? Kitu wanatakaka ni kuwapatia tu za macho na hiyo imetocha.
Za macho.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Nitakukonga, nitakuwekelea ngumi ya walio amba kuzirai wewe.
Ngoja mwalimu, sikiria hapo kwa it seems to be. Mwalimu, you want to mean we have been conned? Epuka chini kwanza wewe.
Kachini.
These are people who are paving the way for female comedians who are winning our hearts and cracking our ribs one show at a time.
I'm a stand-up comedian full-time, but I'm also a screenwriter and a producer at times.
I am a stand-up comedian and I do leather design.
I'm an AWS, Amazon Web Services, solutions architect. And then of course, I'm a stand-up comedian.
It's hard to explain to my mom I've been fired when I was barely working.
I know.
Yeah.
Just every setback, can definitely be a new beginning for you.
And for a very long time, I would like to make my brothers laugh. I didn't even know there's something like stand-up comedy.
Things that were happening, and that's when my family started calling me a ray of sunshine, Like you bring cheer and joy. And I was like, let's take this to the stage.
I hope that more women are encouraged to get into comedy.
Welcome back to Easy Friday Business News. Now, hoteliers at the coast are reporting increased bookings this festive season, with some travelers already arriving for the Christmas festivities. According to John Yegon, a hotelier, the operation of the Madaraka Express train service as well as low-cost flights have made it convenient and affordable to travel to the coast for leisure as well as business.
The scenic, pristine sandy beaches have for years made the coast a key tourist destination.
Let's treat these visitors with caution. Let's take them, handle them carefully, because the experience they are having here is going to determine their return back to Mombasa. Majority have come with their families because they took an opportunity to come for holiday. We did a lot of promotion and they've come to sample whatever Mombasa is offering.
Coupled to cultural sites, local cuisine and improved transport infrastructure, the coast attracts many travelers during the holiday season.
Because from the 20th of December, most hotels will be full. We are a city hotel, the best city hotel in Mombasa and the biggest one in Mombasa. So we do expect to be full, although we are at 80% at the moment. We still have openings for people to book and come into Mombasa.
Operationalization of the Madaraka Express train service. Low-cost flights have made it convenient and affordable to travel to the coast. Whereas some would prefer lazy walks along the beach, travelers who prefer city stays to beach vacays enjoy the nightlife and street food.
The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is calling for a review of the tax regime as the government prepares next year's budget to create a more conducive environment for business. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Vice Chairperson Engineer Chris Kandia says numerous levies and high lending rates have resulted in increased cost of production.
More. I know there have been a lot of effort to support especially the SMEs, but I believe the breakthrough of Kenyan economy sits squarely in what Kenya Bureau of Standards does. Because by sensitizing most of the SMEs especially on what the processes that they need to comply with for them to access even the export markets.
And finally, in business, Investments, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says Kenya is fine-tuning the tax regime as well as finalizing on other incentives to help boost investments in the country. Here is Alan Awoko with the details.
Export processing zones and special economic zones in Kenya have created over 7,000 direct jobs, including 3,000 jobs in the past 12 months. To enhance their contribution to the economy, the government is working on making the country more conducive to investments.
What we have done with the special economic zones is that we have made even more provisions to make it more stable, even in terms of the tax rebates that we are giving in the zones, and therefore we are making it a more predictable investment environment in the special economic zones.
However, some guidelines on setting up in special economic zones are said to be restrictive and edging out some investors.
There have been at least one case that we've done in Naivasha where the investor took a bit of time. He did not fulfill the promises he had given us, and in that case we had to cancel the license for them. That's only the one case. Otherwise, by and large, many of our investors have been okay.
They were speaking on a site visit to Infinity Industrial Park, a 200-acre special economic zone in which 11 companies have expressed interest in setting up their operations.
There's a lot of good work going on here to employ Kenyans, to export and also have products in country. So as ministry, we want to assure the investors here that we will continue to support these investments.
Kenya has 39 special economic zones, of which 9 are public, while 30 are private.
It is always a good time on Bridge over Congo.
Catch us every Saturday from 10 p.m. till midnight.
Join me, the Rumba Supreme Leader and the Grand Ayatollah Simeon Mfumu Kimbango and
Winnie Marie Jose, Bridge over Congo.
Mungu esilaka na nzungu te kasielenge Mungu esilaka na
Chumvi huyeyuka chunguni, lakini ladha yake hubakia.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. Now, Ruiru Town constituency Member of Parliament Simon Kingara took a time of 9.42 minutes to retain the 1600-meter men's race walking competition as the East Africa Community Interparliamentary Games entered the 7th day in Mombasa.
Kingara took charge of the leading pack that comprised of Ugandans MP Patrick Okan, John Teira and Iona Musinguzi from the onset before he widened the gap in the last lap to emerge victorious in 9.42 minutes, followed by Patrick Okan and John Teira of Uganda.
Wakati tuko katika michuano hii, para jioni kama tukitoka hapa kutakuwa na vikao ambao wambunge wote wanashikana pamoja kwa meza moja mzunguko, na kila mtu anapatiana mawazo yake kuhusu nchi yao, na vile vile tunakuja na miswanda na mijadala ile tunaweza omba kutoka kwa mbunge nyingine tukaleta kwa mbunge yetu.
Na ndio naambia Wakenya, haswa wale ambao wanafikiria tu ati rais ndiye anafanya maneno. Mimi nawaambia wacheni kufikiria rais, tuanze kufikiria magavana. Wale ndio wako na pesa, wale ndio wako mashinani, wale ndio wanajua shida. Sababu if you have a working governor, wewe hata rais unaenda kumtafutia nini?
Na hatujakuwa na wakati mwingi kama wenzetu wa Uganda, na kwa hivyo ni funzo ambalo tunafaa kuchukua saa hii na next year tuhakikishe tumereclaim ile glory yetu.
Ilikuwa race nzuri. Mimi nimekuwa mshindani kwa miaka yote ambayo nimeshiriki kama miaka 9. Nimekuwa gold medalist throughout. Kwa hiyo najivunia mashindano haya, lakini pia kuwa sehemu ya mashindano haya.
La muhimu ni ya kwamba tunaunda uhusiano wa pamoja katika nchi zetu za Afrika Mashariki.
I encourage everybody to love sports, to love athletics, to love any sport. It keeps you fit.
After registering mixed results in today's games, the Kenyan team has maintained that their main aim is to bag the overall title and dethrone Uganda. For Easy Friday Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. Moving on, Harambee Starlets will kickstart their 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Tunisia following the draw conducted by CAF in Cairo, Egypt. There will be 2 rounds of qualifiers set for February and October next year. In the meantime, the CECAFA Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers will kick off tomorrow with Kenya Junior Stars scheduled to play Tanzania and Morocco in Group A.
Kenya's Harambee Starlets will play Tunisia in the opening round of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers between February 17 to 26 next year and October 20th to 28th, 2025, as they fight for one of the 12 available slots in the continental event. Should Starlets beat Tunisia, they will face the winner of the match between Nigeria and Gambia as they look to return to the continental tournament since 2016 when they last competed. Meanwhile, the Kenya Under-17 girls team Junior Starlets have been handed a bye in the opening round of the 2025 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifiers, following the impressive performance in the previous tournament alongside Nigeria and Zambia, who also secured direct entry into the second round. They are joined by the highest-ranked team Burundi. 5 African nations will compete in the Under-17 FIFA World Cup to be held in Morocco from October 17th to November 8th next year. And the Kenya Under-20 girls national team Rising Starlets will kickstart the 2026 FIFA Under-20 Women World Cup qualifying campaign against Ethiopia in the second round in September next year. Rising Starlets will hope to secure a first ever World Cup slot, and should they go past the second round, they will play in the third round in February 2026 and the fourth round in May. Finally, the fixtures for the Under-17 CECAFA Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers have been revised following the withdrawal of Ethiopia and Burundi from the competition. Kenya is now placed in Group A alongside Uganda and Tanzania. The Junior Stars will kick off their qualification campaign against Tanzania next Wednesday at the Nakivumbo Hams Stadium.
Thank you, Barkley, for that report. The national women's netball team finished 7th at this year's edition of the African Netball Cup ongoing at TC Dome in Namibia. Kenya beat Eswatini 43-39 in a tense 7th and 8th place playoff to wind up their campaign 7th in the 8th 6-team tournament. The women's final will see 3-time champions Uganda taking on South Africa in the final scheduled this weekend. Uganda saw off Malawi 51-43 in the semi-final, while South Africa registered a 63-41 win against Zimbabwe. The Kenya men's team, on the other hand, reached the semi-finals after being bundled out by hosts Namibia. Meanwhile, Dar City Basketball Club bounced back from their loss against Remesha to beat ABC Basketball Club 66-58 in the ongoing East Africa Basketball Club Championship Cup at Nyayo National Stadium. In another match played on Friday, Lehipos beat home side Equity Dumas 70-51. The championship has brought together 6 clubs from Kenya, Tanzania and Burundi, and it'll end on Sunday. Five FKF Premier League clubs have signed a multi-year mega shirt sponsorship with A2Z Sports House, starting with the remaining fixtures of the 2024-2025 season.
The clubs under the deal include Posta Rangers, FC Talanta, Sofapaka, Nairobi City Stars and Mathare United. The partnership aims to accelerate commercialization through convenient and cost-effective sales of quality replicas. Speaking during the unveiling today, A2Z Marketing Brand and Partnership Manager Herbert Kunga said they will be reviewing the partnership after each season with an aim of expanding the partnership with other football clubs.
These kind of partnerships will ensure that there's adequate branding. This kind of partnership will ensure that there's consistency when you need the replicas. Basically, I had to consider the club first, and then also we looked at the financial constraints of these clubs. Most of these clubs suffers in terms of sponsorship. They don't have. In terms of getting finances, they don't have. In terms of kitting, they don't have proper kits. That's why I zero down on Sofapaka, Mathare, Talanta, and Posta.
And I'm happy today AZ is empowering about 5 teams from Nairobi with special kits that they will be using as they battle it out in the Premier League.
Meanwhile, Mara Sugar is looking for 3 crucial points when they host 6th placed Karubangi Sharks tomorrow at the Homa Bay Stadium after 4 winless games in the FKF Premier League. Kakamega Homeboys will host Ulinzi Stars at the Mumia Stadium in a Fiore encounter as both teams drew in the previous matches, and a win against Gor Mahia will see Police FC move up to 3rd place when they host the defending champions at the Police Sacco Stadium. League leaders Kenya Commercial Bank need a win when they travel to Homa Bay to take on Shaban FC after 4 draws in a row. Bandari FC could go top of the FKF standings when they host Mathare United at the Mbaraki Sports Club tomorrow.
Nafasi na mja Patrick Ngonyi amecheza big center Otieno.
And now finally, Manchester United, my team, came from a goal down to beat Victoria Pleasant 2-1 in the UEFA Europa League thanks to Højlund's brace that earned the Reds the maximum points. In other matches, group leaders Lazio beat Ajax 3-1 while Tottenham Hotspur drew 1-1 with Rangers. Elsewhere, Chelsea maintained their 100% record in the UEFA Conference League when they defeated Astana 3-1 with their goals from Mark and Renato. And those were all the sports stories we had for you tonight. What an incredible evening it's been. I'm so glad you could keep me company tonight on Easy Friday as we leave you with more to think about. How do you feel Raila Odinga fared on in today's high-stake contest? Could this be Kenya's moment to shine on the global stage? And with the deputy chairperson role guaranteed for a woman, is this a turning point for gender representation in leadership on the continent? A big thank you to our sign language interpreters, Brian Uraru and Anwangeshi, for making this bulletin accessible to all. Up next is DJ Kuljax with the Disco Funk Show, so don't go anywhere. I'll see you again next Friday. But in the meantime, stay engaged with us on our social media platforms for more updates and stories. Have a fantastic weekend. I'm Karen Kibbett. Good night.
Birthday saa hii ishafika na ni kubwa. Kweli? Hii Kristi ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570